This book is called Melena's Jubilee, The Story of a Fresh Start, written by Zetta Elliott, and the pictures are by illustrator Aaron Boyd. I woke up this morning with a song in my heart and looked out my window. The night rain had washed away our chalk drawings, but I didn't mind. The sidewalk was clean, and that meant we could start over. This morning I remembered to make my bed. Yesterday I forgot. Yesterday I also forgot to put my toys away, and when Grandma's friend came over, he tripped on one and banged into the table. That's how my mother's favorite vase got broken. It seemed like everyone was mad at me. This morning when I crept into the kitchen and slipped into my seat, Grandma winked at me. Mama set down my breakfast and kissed the top of my head. "Does this mean you aren't mad at me anymore?" I asked them. "I never let the sun go down on my anger," Grandma said. "Today's a new day, Melena," Mama added, "and that means you've got a fresh start. After work, I'm going to stop at the store and get some glue. Maybe this evening you can help me fix my vase." After breakfast, I told Grandma about the song in my heart. She put the dishes in the sink and began running the water. Steam and bubbles drifted up towards my grandmother's pretty face. "I feel that way some days," she said. "Some days I wake up feeling like I'm brand new." She chuckled. "And that's a pretty special feeling for an old lady like me." I chuckled too and told Grandma that today felt like the first page of a brand new book. "Well, what are you planning to write on that first page?" she asked me. I told her I wasn't sure. When we finished the dishes, I called my best friend Helen and told her to meet me outside. On the way out, I passed behind my older brother Miles. I thought about the time last week when he snuck up behind me and whacked me over the head with his tennis racket. Now I had a chance to pay him back. I thought about how surprised Miles would be when the heavy cushion from the sofa went whoomp inside his head, upside his head. But then I remembered that this was my fresh start day, and pounding Miles didn't seem like such a good idea. After all, he'd only hit me back, and Miles hits hard. So I left him alone and went outside. Helen was standing on the sidewalk. She looked upset. "What's wrong?" I asked. "The poem I wrote about the rainbow got washed away," said Helen. "So write a new poem," I suggested. Helen knelt down and started drawing a flower instead. I took a piece of chalk and wrote, "There is a song in my heart." "What's your song about?" Helen asked. "I'm not sure," I said, "but it makes me want to celebrate." Helen stopped drawing. "Celebrate what?" I looked around. "I don't know. Maybe the sun, or those trees over there. We could celebrate flowers and birds. We could even celebrate being friends." Helen rolled her eyes. "Whatever you say, Melena." I hummed softly to myself. When it was time for lunch, we went inside. "Grandma's out back," Miles mumbled with his mouth full of food. Helen and I looked out the back door and saw Grandma digging in her garden. "Are you girls hungry?" she called to us. Helen and I nodded. Suddenly I had an idea. "Grandma, Why don't we eat the things that are growing in your garden? Grandma pushed back her sun hat and studied me for a minute. Then she shrugged, picked up her basket, and started telling us what to pick. We had the most delicious lunch. When we finished eating, Grandma gave us some money. Helen and I ran outside and followed the tinkling tune of the ice cream truck. Up the block, we saw Gavin and his twin brothers. Helen tugged my arm. "Hey, Mel, Gavin owes you $1, remember?" I remembered. I loaned it to him last week at the pizza shop. Gavin never gets to buy anything for himself. He always has to share with his little brothers. When we reached the truck, Helen tugged my arm again. "Tell Gavin you want your money back," she whispered. "Then we can get double swirl cones." Gavin was counting his coins in the palm of his hand. He looked up and smiled at us. "Hey, Melena. Hey, Helen." On any other day, I would have told Gavin I wanted my money back. But today was my fresh start day. "Let's pool our money," I suggested. "That way, we can buy a hot fudge sundae and split it 5 ways. 5 ways? Gasped Helen. The twins started jumping up and down. "Sprinkles, sprinkles," they cried. Gavin stared at the coins in his hand. "I'm not sure, Melena." "Well, I am," I said. We carried our hot fudge sundae over to the park and dug in. Then we spread out on top of the jungle gym and took turns pointing out funny-shaped clouds. After a while, we got quiet. Then Gavin said, "Have you ever thought about the sun?" "What about it?" I asked. "Well," said Gavin, "there's only one. One sun that shines on everybody in the world, no matter where you live, or how you look, or how much money you have." "Sunshine's free for everyone," said Helen. "I never thought of it that way," I said. We got quiet again. I closed my eyes and felt the sun beaming down on me. I began to hum, softly at first, but Gavin heard me and joined in. "Is that the song in your heart?" asked Helen. I nodded and kept on humming. "What's it about?" asked Gavin. "Oh, a lot of things," I said. "It's about waking up to a blue sky and finding out you've been forgiven. It's about free sunshine and the tasty things that grow in my grandmother's garden. But mostly, it's about having a chance to start all over again every single day." And that is the end.